Okay, I'm not gonna lie. I started without you. I've probably had too much to drink, but I have made the pattern. I'll show you tomorrow, because tomorrow I might know what I'm talking about. Bonjour! So my best mate's 30th is approaching, and I asked her what she was missing in her wardrobe, and she said a co-ord set. So I designed something like this. The proportions are a little bit strange, not really sure what's going on with those legs, but that's the general idea. I want the top to be a little bit loose at the bottom and everything to be quite structured, and she said she wanted it in monochrome. So I found this fabric, which is quite heavy, it's quite structured, there's no stretch to it, and it's kind of made like a rug. Some unhinged woman did some pattern making for me last night. I don't know who she was, but my desk is in a bit of a state of chaos at the moment, so let's see where we're up to. I made this sort of t-shirt shape, and I was planning on moving the dart round so that it was a side one instead of a bottom one, and I also managed to make this skirt pattern. It's kind of a pencil skirt, it's like just before the knee. So I'm just going to neaten those up now, make sure that I've got a front and a back of everything. It's taken me a few hours, but I have all my pattern pieces. I'm going to make a toile of the top first because I don't know exactly how it's going to work and if she's going to be able to get in and out of it. So I made the toile yesterday. I can't show you because somehow I've lost it. I have no idea how that happened, but it definitely needed doing. When I put the sleeve on, I just like burst it with my biceps, with my huge guns, so that needed adjusting quite a lot, and then just bits like moving the dart slightly so that it's more in line with the nipple, and now I guess I'm just procrastinating because the next job that I've got to do is cut the actual fabric, which is terrifying. Because this fabric frays like a mother, I've got this bias tape, so that's gonna like encase all of the raw edges. It's just gonna get wrapped up, so I don't need to fold it under and like hem it or anything, because it's so thick, like I just don't want like the neckline and stuff to be like bulky. I'm just putting in some tailor's tacks where the notches were so that I can line everything up easily. So because it's such a heavy fabric, I've actually just been cutting out little rectangles that are just about the size that I need to work on so that it's not pulling, because when it pulls it like makes the print go all wiggly. And these are the back panels now. So I've cut out one already, and I've folded the seam allowance back so that I can pattern match up the back. So I just have to get the pattern aligned, and then I can just pop the other pattern piece right next to it and cut where I need to cut, and it should match up when I sew it. Somehow it took me 3 hours, but I have all the pieces cut. Here are my two sleeves. There's no seam allowance across the bottom because, like I said, they're going to be bound. That is the middle piece, and I've put the notches and the darts with red tailor's tacks. And then that is 2 back pieces. And finally there is the front of the skirt and the 2 back pieces as well. So the next thing that I need to do is to put all of the darts in, and then I can bind all of the edges, and I figure I'd do that first just to try and prevent as much fraying as possible. I've got my little flowers, I got my trash TV ready, and I've got this little collage of me and my best friend who I'm making the outfit for to keep me going. So I'm just finding the top of the dart here and the 2 bottoms of the dart and putting a pin through the bottoms to meet them together so that I can like fold the fabric, and then once it's folded I can just use the pins to make a little line that I'm going to sew along, because I don't really want to mark this fabric, it's just annoying to work with, so I'm using the pins as like tailor's chalk to guide me so I know where to sew, and then just sewing down. Just been giving this fabric a haircut constantly because every time I walk past it, it frays. I just put on the first bit of bias tape binding. Got to do that around all the pieces now, and then at least I won't have to worry about this issue. This is what it looks like. It's just like a ribbon and it's folded in 4 times like that. And you basically just have to slot it in. So to start off, I'm just going to fold the top over so there's no raw edges showing. And then carefully get the edge of the skirt in the middle of it. And then sew it on. And just keep it tucked in and keep going down. And then just keep going and going and going and going and going and going. I realised that I've not actually got enough bias tape to finish the whole garment, so I'm just having to run into town and get some more. And going and going and going and going and going and going and going. Is going even a word anymore? Hello, so I've done all of the binding for now. I'm really happy with how the pieces look. I think they look really profesh and really neat. And I've just left like the kind of tops and bottoms undone, just so that when I put everything together, I can just bind it all in like one neat circle. Does that make sense? So now it's actually time to do some constructing. What? I'm going to assemble the top first. So what we like to do with t-shirts is you want to attach the shoulder seams first like that, and then you've got this semicircle where you can sew in the sleeve. So let's just put these bits together first. Hold onto the thread, so I'll lower the needle, and as you can see the foot is a little bit slanted, so I've got my makeshift hump jumper, and once the needle's sank I can just pop this under the back so that it sits straight. Hold onto the thread for the first couple of stitches and then reverse, and onwards we move. Brief intermission. I just had a bit of an issue with a bit of the thing pulling away. I don't know how to describe what I mean, but a bit broke basically. So I have gone round all of it with a zigzag, and I'm going to need to do that to the skirt as well because I don't want it to rip and break. So okay friends, so the shoulder seams are attached. I've pressed the seam allowance open. So now what we want to do, get it right side up, and you can see this is the armhole, that's like the shoulder, and we get our t-shirt sleeves, and we're gonna have to do it right sides together. So it's gonna be a little bit awkward getting this curve to match that curve, but just do it bit by bit. I've got a little bit of red tailor's tack there, just to show me where the midpoint is. So I can line that up with my seam here. Throw a pin in there. And then we're just gonna do it all the way around, so I'll speed you up. One piece is inexplicably longer than the other. I really should have zigzagged it all the way around straight away because I feel like giving it haircuts as like slightly shaved bits off so that the measurements aren't exactly right anymore. And we almost have a t-shirt, y'all. Okay, so I've got the back of the t-shirt here and I'm just measuring out where my zip goes up to. Traditionally you would just sew all the way up and then deal with the zip later, but I can't really unpick this fabric without snagging it. And then I'm also marking 1 inch up from the bottom in case she needs a little back vent in order to get the t-shirt on because it has absolutely no stretch. And just sewing down the back from mark to mark. Who's Mark? So I sewed it up, left quite a good generous seam allowance and left a gap for the zip, and then I just pressed it open with the iron. And I'm going to grab the zip and I'm just going to lay it face down on there, pin it all in, and then I'm going to sew it tomorrow because I've already cracked open a beer and it's time to finish. Good morning! So I have pinned the zip to just the seam allowance and I'm going to baste that down, which basically just means using like a longer stitch just to hold it in place more accurately than the pins. So now that's basted in, I've switched to my zipper foot and I'm going to unzip the zipper and just start top stitching it down. Now I've got like part way down and the needle's sunk, I can lift the foot up and hopefully zip it back up so that I can go, yeah, all the way down to the bottom. Just put that back and then that's the zip put in. All I need to do now is bind the neck and the bottom and we're finished with the top. So I've just finished the top and I'm having my daily tea and chocolate biscuit time outside because it's so sunny. Just thought it was a nice opportunity to get out and get a bit of vitamin D. So I'm not getting any other type of D. No, that's a joke. I won't show you the top, I'll leave it until the reveal and then I'm gonna go inside and do the skirt soon. Okay, we got 2 back sides, back sides, and the one front side, and what we're gonna do is just sew them right sides together. Comme ça. And then I'm just ironing the seams open so that they lie flat, doing a bit of snippety. Now I'm going to do the exact same process on the back of the skirt as I did on the back of the top, just sewing up to where the zip goes in, putting the zip in and leaving a gap at the bottom just so that she can walk, because obviously that's a bonus if she can walk in it. And then I'll show you the grand reveal. So the fabric was a little bit tricky to work with, but I got there in the end and I'm so pleased with it. I think it's the most professional thing I've ever done. I think it's really unique and really chic and it really suits her, and she was really happy when she opened it, and that's the main thing. Love you, Clemmy!